Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, in this episode, it's interesting because I've received a few messages over the Acupuncture is My Life app, and if you don't already have it, go to your app store and download it. It's free. There's so many benefits to having the Acupuncture is My Life app. I've received a few messages, one from a young lady in Nigeria, another from a young lady in Japan, and another from a young lady in Brazil. And there were concerns over menopause. Now, I know they requested that I discuss it over a podcast. Why don't I do a podcast discussing menopause? And I promised I would. But I'm not going to go into detail pertaining to their cases. I'll just keep it really generic, okay? Because many young ladies, believe it or not, are confused about the symptoms of menopause. And again, this is why I say see an acupuncturist for regular wellness visits along with your annual checkups with a physician, because you see, understanding these symptoms can assist in making the transition from perimenopause to postmenopause a whole lot easier. Because a woman's body goes through a lot of changes during this time. And that's due to natural hormone fluctuations. And when you're going through menopause, you're at the perimenopause state, and you understand the symptoms of perimenopause, see an acupuncturist immediately. Understand something. Menopause affects all women in different ways. But menopause tends to have, those common symptoms that can include, let's say, mood swings, hot flashes, headaches, vaginal dryness, migraines. And again, this is why it's best to see an acupuncturist during this time. Now, you can expect these types of hormonal or relative hormonal changes to start taking place somewhere in your 40s or 50s. I mean, it fluctuates. It can be earlier. Rarely is it later. All right. But it's important to know the difference between perimenopause symptoms and menopause. Because, okay, let's just start with the basics to say, and I'm speaking off the top of my head, like what is menopause? And that's usually a time where it happens when a woman has not had her period, let's say, for an entire year. And this is usually due to the fact that her ovaries are no longer functioning properly, which therefore leads to a decline in hormone levels. And this usually happens, let's give a median age of 50, 51, give or take. But there are cases where menopause has occurred in women at a much younger age. So don't think that it cannot. And I've had cases where I've held virtual sessions where women in their 30s, late 30s, were surprised when they inquired regarding symptoms, and we've had detailed discussions, and I'll just leave it at that. And there are women that don't understand that symptoms of menopause can last as long as 5 years after their last period. And, women, menopause symptoms can be attributed for the most part to aging, but then to the surprise of many, and I'll get into it from an acupuncturist perspective in a second, it can be attributed to stress, anxiety, and depression rather than, let's say, hormonal changes. And that serves as a shock to many young ladies. And you see the hormones that tend to decline during menopause are usually testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. And these are all produced by the ovaries. And these hormones are important hormones for a woman's body to function. Okay? And when these hormones are low, they can be associated with health risks. And again, there are women who don't understand that. Because when you have low hormone levels, especially the hormones I've just gone over, you're at an increased risk of, let's say, heart disease, diabetes, osteoporosis, clinical depression, dementia, and so forth. Right? So it's good to be aware of that. But let's just say, what are some menopausal symptoms? And keep in mind, they tend to vary from person to person, but your more common symptoms would be headaches or hot flushes and night sweats, fatigue, muscle and joint pain. It can be, menopausal weight gain, anxiety, low mood, reduced libido, and again, like I said earlier, vaginal dryness. Now, on acupunctureismylife.tv, when we're discussing mental and emotional disorders, there's a part where we discuss how it's tied to menopause. When we're discussing anxiety and mood swings. So check out acupunctureismylife.tv when you get a moment. There's so much you'll learn from that. But now when it comes to, let's say, hot flushes, that's that feeling, well, the one individuals, young ladies that's going through it, the ones that there's this intense feeling like you're just hot and you just can't get comfortable. Experiencing, let's say, random feelings of intense heat. And it just seems to pop up all of a sudden. And it'll feel like it spreads throughout your body, your face, and you're just real sweaty. You feel overheated, and your skin starts to turn red. It's a sign you could be experiencing hot flushes. See an acupuncturist. Now, this can be as a result of declining levels of estrogen, which you'll experience somewhere around perimenopause and menopause. And when this happens, the woman's body usually is unable to effectively regulate body temperature. See an acupuncturist. Another symptom you can experience is dizziness. It's less common when you're going through menopause, but you can still experience that. And as a result of, let's say, these hormonal changes, you can experience dizziness along with your hot flushes. That comes from the fluctuation in hormone levels. Another can be, what else can it be? Let me think. Digestive issues. A woman may also experience digestive issues during menopause, because these hormonal changes can impact the gut of a female. And I won't get into the second brain, the gut-brain relationship and so forth and so on, but these hormonal changes often disrupted. And a female can experience a wide range of digestive issues such as diarrhea or nausea or bloating or cramping. See an acupuncturist, because weight gain, they can experience weight gain during menopause. And why is that? Because that's due to the drop in estrogen levels and the rise in that stress hormone called cortisol. And this tends to lead to many women storing fat around their midsection. And this is where abdominal acupuncture is awesome. Awesome. You can also experience, let's say, difficulty sleeping. Because women who suffer from menopause or experience menopause tend to experience sleep issues. Some, in most cases, due to that overheating feeling. Then there's insomnia and drowsiness. See, the night sweats will wake you up because you'll wake up late, feel like you're in a pot of water. And many women that are going through menopause do report experiencing insomnia, changes in their sleep pattern. See an acupuncturist. Now, when it comes down to, let's say, as I brought up earlier, let's say vaginal dryness, this is usually due to a decline in estrogen in the body. Okay. That's usually what it's due to, which you'll experience irritation and pain during sexual intercourse, these burning sensations. Again, see an acupuncturist. Depression comes into play too. Mood changes. Low mood, anxiety, depression. Go to acupunctureismylife.tv and check out the section on mental and emotional disorders. Because these psychological symptoms that a female can experience is low mood, let's say, intrusive thoughts, reduced energy, feelings of reduced self-worth or low self-esteem, signs of irritability and loss of confidence. Again, check out acupunctureismylife.tv. There are some women who've even become suicidal during menopause. See an acupuncturist. There's even cases of brain fog where a woman will experience concentration and memory issues, which can happen during menopause or around the time of menopause. Women can struggle with remembering just the basic things as to why they walked into a room. Why am I here? Or just forget simple activities or routine tasks. Remember people's names. Again, see an acupuncturist. But it's important to understand the difference between perimenopause and menopause. And it basically comes down to where a woman's hormone levels are currently at. Because perimenopause is basically the time before menopause. And generally when menopause symptoms start to present, hormone levels then start to decline. And periods often change in frequency, or even in its own nature. Okay? And it's important as a female that you understand this, because you see, as an acupuncturist, I understand that health as well. And knowing this is good for your overall health. Because, understand something. The wealth, it's not in an app on your phone. It's not in the stock market. It's not in the bank. It's not in the safe. It's not in your pocket. It's not in your purse. It's not under the mattress, nor is it in a shoebox in the closet. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. The wealth is in you. And it's important that you understand that. I take it that's why you're listening to Acupuncture is My Life podcasts. And you see, to see an acupuncturist for regular wellness visits, it's important, because when you're going through or facing perimenopause and you're confused, an acupuncturist will help you. He or she will help you with what's going on and how well is yin and yang balanced, how, the levels and the flow of qi and blood throughout the body, along with other things. Because an acupuncturist understands that symptoms of menopause tend to be influenced by lifestyle factors, as I discussed, such as emotional stress, overwork, and even diet. Let's say, for instance, when it comes to emotional stress, which is important, stress, chronic stress as a result of, building up for years, plays a part. Where, let's just say, there's that chronic anxiety or anger or worry or guilt, fear. And I discuss this, I talk about this on acupuncturesmylife.tv. Chronic stress tends to weaken a person's kidneys and would accelerate the decline of the essence of that person's kidneys, that young lady's kidneys, and men too. This is what stress does, but we're talking about menopause right now. Having too many children, too close together, just overdoing it with work, such as, let's say you work extended hours and you don't get enough rest, and your diet is horrible and you worry a lot. You're creating a deficient pattern within the kidneys, especially the yin aspect of your kidneys. And this has an influence on menopause when you experience it. A bad diet does too. Like, let's say if you eat too much fried chicken or French fries or just greasy foods. Or dairy. And in many podcasts, I speak out against greasy foods or dairy foods. This tends to cause the body to produce phlegm. And phlegm, because, the spleen, it disrupts the functions of the spleen and stomach. And I speak a lot about the importance of the middle jowl and all qi and blood created after birth. But phlegm is common. It's normal in menopausal women. And it tends to aggravate hot flashes. And it creates this sense of mental restlessness and insomnia. Another way diet plays a big part outside of eating a lot of dairy or greasy foods is eating a lot of processed foods, a diet that lacks nourishment. Vegan diet. I'm not speaking out against vegetarian diet, but it can lead to both blood and or yin deficiency. So you have to pay attention to that. This is why sitting with an acupuncturist is important. Undergoing Eastern nutrition consultation. Another is drinking too much alcohol. Because alcohol and coffee as well tend to be warm in energy, which tends to aggravate menopausal hot flashes. Smoking is bad too, because it creates blood deficiency. Why? Because smoking or tobacco has the capacity to dry a person out. And its energy is hot, so it damages blood and fluids and essence and yin. So you have to be careful. This is why I say over and over, it's important that you sit with an acupuncturist for regular wellness visits, because there's so much to it and so many ways you can benefit. Just simply make acupuncture a part of your life, okay? Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?